All right, I just wanted to get a video here with Rico. So Rico's been with us for a board and train program for just a little over 2 weeks now. He's here, we're working on some of the typical Rottweiler issues. So he's got some reactivity towards new people and strangers, and doesn't like people petting him or touching him. He has a hard time with all that kind of stuff. Gets reactive on walks with people and dogs. And then he also resource guards, so he'll growl and try to snap at people for taking toys if he doesn't approve of it. And then he's also got some big time separation anxiety, and that was kind of one of the ones I really wanted to touch on in this video, was some of the thoughts on his separation anxiety. So when he got to us, probably one of the worst case of separation anxiety I've really seen in a lot of ways. A big part of that was, his size. It made it really difficult to contain him in a crate, especially if he knew he could break out of it. He could easily get out of a wire kennel or anything like that. So, and then just his size getting into the kennel, he did not want to go in the kennel. You could do all the crate games and anything of those kinds of sorts of natures you want to do. Throwing food in there, throwing a toy in there, any of that, forcing him in there, any of that, and he would resist and really avoid going into that kennel. And once you did get him in the kennel, the first couple times we'd have to kind of wrestle him into the kennel. And once we did get him into the kennel, he would very much let you know that he did not want to be there. Immediately panting, whale-eyed, panicking kind of thing. He would start gnawing at the kennel. We put him in a ruffland kennel, so all the dogs that come into the board and train that were unsure of how they'll do in a wire kennel, we always make sure we utilize ruffland kennels to start their training program, and then eventually we'll graduate them to the sorry, I got scratches on my screen. We'll graduate them to the wire kennels that we will usually have the owners maybe using at home, depending on the situation. But anyway, so we put him in the ruffland kennel, and he would immediately start trying to chew out of the front gate of it, the plastic front gate, and the holes where the windows and stuff are. He'd spill his water everywhere. He would drool so much that there was a pool of drool. The grooves in the bottom of the rufflands, there would be a pool of drool in the bottom of those grooves, deep enough to cover the bottom there, right? And he would be soaking wet. His whole chin and stomach would be covered in drool from all the panting. And that's after only maybe a half an hour in that kennel sometimes, right, when he first got here. And so it was pretty bad. And again, barking and stuff like that too, obviously, like making sure he would let people know that he did not want to be in there. So it was a pretty serious situation with the separation anxiety, and I can imagine owners at home trying to work on that. It would be near impossible. If he was out of his kennel at home, I should add, he would destroy things. He'd have accidents in the house. He would destroy couch cushions and stuff. So again, a lot of anxiety going on there, but kind of gets into where we go into like resolving these issues, right? The other thing I really noticed though, is that is a lot of misplaced energy. It's a lot of unfulfilled energy, I suppose, right? Leaking out of him at those times. He just puts so much energy into the confinement issues and the separation anxiety. All of that energy could be put into better things, right? And that's something that we noticed right away. When we first tried to get him to play with us, he really wasn't super playful with toys, but I noticed he would right away go after the couch pillows. And so that was kind of where I started with him, was getting him excited over the couch pillows, because like I said, his owner said he would destroy the couch pillows and stuff at home when left out. So it's a good sign to me that he's probably pretty bored too. So we just took advantage of, hey, he's trying to nip at me a little bit. He gets pretty mouthy for a big guy. So anyway, I took advantage of that knowledge, and we just spent the last, really it's been over 2 weeks now, and the first week especially, just tons of play, right? Getting him really to love play, using different toys, switching him over to different toys. And it didn't take long for him to really show his love for play, and he's huge, right? Like, he's huge into it. You can play with him he'll drop dead before he stops playing, kind of thing. Like, he's just obsessed with it. He loves possession games. He loves chase and catch. He didn't have much of an out or anything like that, and zero rules around his gameplay. So it was very much, he was very much a big bully and very pushy during the play at first, and didn't follow any rules. And this kind of goes into this goes into the resource guarding issues, is where those kinds of things can really develop and fester, is like in that relationship when you're playing with your dog. We can make or break that separation anxiety, that resource guarding issue. We can make or break that issue through our play, right? And I really mean that. Like, really, it is one of those things where if you don't play properly with the dog, or you don't teach them how to play properly, yeah, you can have some big issues. But if you do teach them how to play properly, and you have a dog that's maybe susceptible to those resource guarding issues, like a Rottweiler, like a dog like Rico, you can really resolve those issues so fast and really never have them come up as issues in your relationship. And that's a big part of the overall focus here, is just making sure he's satisfied, making sure he's fulfilled, making sure, again, yeah, we do have rules and stuff around the games that we play with them and the things that we do with them, and we make sure we are able to enforce those rules with the appropriate types of control. That's all super, super important, but again, it's that fulfillment and that satisfaction that's really helping him resolve this separation anxiety issue that he has, because now it's like, you know, we spend that first week taking him in and out of his kennel, and playing with him, really burning off a lot of that energy, doing a lot of off-leash work and stuff with him too, recalls and things like that. It's been cold out especially, so we've been focusing on a lot more play inside right now. But he's just so obsessed with the play, and, you know, we'll go for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, we'll add some obedience, you know, we'll enforce the rules and stuff like that, obviously, and he just gets so satisfied from it. You can see he's super, super pumped up about it, super happy. He's just always super happy, and that's kind of what we're going for here, is just creating that really positive emotion around being out of his kennel, being in this environment. And then when we bring him back into his kennel, he's happy. He just wants to relax and rest, and that's the place that he knows he does that, and that's what he does. When we bring him into his kennel now, after these intense sessions, he will just pass out and sleep. And then today was a good test, because today I didn't actually, you know, I let him out for a potty this morning at our regular time at 7, and then he chilled in his kennel for about 4 hours about. This morning with 0 issues in the wire kennel, no issues at all, no whining, no barking, just relaxing completely, laying down and chilling. So, and he's got water and stuff in there. He's not spilling it in there. So it's really, really nice to see that huge improvement. And then last night as well, we were out for a little bit last night. My kennel tech, who lets all the dogs out in the evening, finished up around 9, and she left, and then I didn't get back until about 10. So that was an hour he spent alone here. In his kennel, just chilling and doing really, really good, and he didn't have any issues. I kind of actually forgot about him and didn't even think that was going to be an issue, so otherwise, you know, I could have come back to him being out of his kennel when I got home, but he was not. He was in there just sleeping, didn't make a peep when I came in. So all of these things are just so awesome to see the big improvements. And then this too, like just seeing him relax here, just let me kind of pet him and hang out with him. He's not freaking out. He's not trying to bite at my hands, which is something he would often do. And, you know, he's not resource guarding the toys. That's something, again, we can get into more detail with, that I touched on a bit here, but he's really tolerant of me petting him, taking his toys and doing all these things. You know, if he grabs something I don't want him to have and I tell him to drop it, he's not resisting and resource guarding it or protesting or being a bully, pushing back against that, which are all common things with these breeds and things that we've been able to resolve over the time he's been here, and we're going to keep working on it and then get his owners on board as well. And I'm sure it's something that a lot of other owners deal with these types of dogs. But the biggest thing when you're dealing with these issues, whether it's the resource guarding, the separation anxiety, or even the people, the aggression and the reactivity, the first place you're going to start is making sure the dog feels good, like every day, right? Making sure that dog, you wake up and you do something that makes that dog feel good. When that dog goes into the kennel or when that dog meets a new person, it feels good, you know. That's the number one thing to focus on. It's not going to be obedience. It's not going to be structure. It's not going to be place commands or, you know, reinforcing food, having strangers come and give him food. It's none of that stuff. It's just going to be making sure he feels good about the environment and making sure he feels good about the situation he's in. Those are the ways that you're going to make the biggest improvements with these types of dogs, and you're going to see the most lasting change, obviously, right? So we're going to play with him now for a bit because we haven't actually really played with him. He's been kind of just occupying himself here. So, ready? Let's do it. All right, I'm just back here with Rico after our play session. He is absolutely zonked from our session. Just did a good 20 minutes of possession games and some healing. He's not exactly the quickest to learn the obedience, so that's something we're still working on, but he's having tons of fun with it. His outing and stuff is coming along really, really good. He's outing super fast and reliably, and he's just playing great. He's following all the rules and doing good with duration and stuff with obedience, which he struggled with, and it's awesome to see it. So anyway, it's going back to kind of, again, the behavior side of things with him, because this really, to me, this is a dog that most, especially behaviorists, force-free trainers, those kinds of things, they would immediately recommend either medication or even potentially euthanasia, simply because of his size and the behaviors that his owner reports, right, with the resource guarding and the aggression, all those things. It's a case that a lot of trainers, balanced, force free, they wouldn't know what to do besides that medication, or like I said, that option of euthanasia or strict control in every aspect of his life with muzzles, kennels, place time. Those are basically the three options that traditional training leaves us with, or traditional ideology leaves us with. And it's definitely there's more to it, right? We're gonna see here, I'm gonna show you guys the effects here of just properly satisfying him, properly fulfilling him, making sure he's happy, not just tired. It's not just because he's tired. That's something that a lot of people will say. And again, I proved it this morning by having him spend that 3 hours in the kennel on his own while I did the other stuff I needed to do, and he just relaxed and was actually relaxed, despite not having any work done with him. So again, I'm going to bring him into his kennel here. He's going to go into his kennel beautifully. There's not going to be any issues with that. And he's just going to drink some water and relax in there. And it's going to be a total change of perception for how he views that spot. So I'll show you that here firsthand. Let's go. Come on. All done. I'll use that all done key to end it. We're done playing already. So we'll bring him into his kennel. Come on. You were just out for a potty, by the way. Come on. Let's go. He was just out for a potty, so he shouldn't need to go. His leash doesn't get stuck here. This door's a pain in the butt. Hey! No, we're not going outside. Rico! You guys want to go outside, but that's okay. It's too cold out there. It's like minus 20 out, so we're not going out there. So I'm going to bring him into his kennel here. He's going to walk in there, no problem. Rico, place. Good boy. Nope, Rico, place. Okay. Good boy. There you go. A little bit of a slip there, but that's no big deal at all. He's got his food here. We're going to take that out because it's actually got water in it, and I don't want it to get moldy. Good boy. Okay, so we're going to end that there, and then he'll stay in his kennel, and he'll chill out, you know. He might pant there for a little bit because he's exhausted, obviously, but he will, guarantee he will chill out here and just relax. Good. And it's kind of one of those things, too, like, you know, I've had to remind him a few times if he gets excited. You know, I've said no. I've banged on his kennel or used the remote collar to correct any kind of, you know, if I hear him barking in the kennel because he's excited or something like that. Or, you know, if he is trying to paw and get out, those are things that we've done. We've used that correction, that remote collar correction to stop some of those behaviors. I'm going to stop some of those behaviors and suppress them. But again, overall, it's not the main point of the strategy. It just gets us to where we need to get to, right? So when I suppress that behavior, I'm doing it with the intention to make sure I'm covering all these other bases, right? He's mentally and physically fulfilled. He feels good about himself. He's happy. He's well fed. He's sleeping well. All those big factors play a huge role in resolving these issues. And again, it's not something I would ever think that you know, medication is going to be the way that we will go, or some of those other options that other trainers will often use. You know, things like crate drills. That's something you'll see a lot with these kinds of cases, is like people will do, whether it's like, you know, the Susan Garrett crate games kind of thing, or any other kind of crate drills you could think of that other trainers will do with the remote collar or food or whatever the case is. It's not going to work long term for a dog like this. You know, it's not going to make an impact in changing the way that they perceive the kennel. It's not going to make them feel good about it. And that's really our primary goal here, right, is to make them feel good about it, going into it and staying in it, not just going in there and coming back out to receive reinforcement or a bribe, if you will, and not just going in there and staying in there because they're threatened with the electric collar. If they don't stay in there, if they don't go in there, or if they make noise in there, those aren't the way that we're covering these kinds of behavior cases. So, and it makes lasting change. Again, I don't need to worry that if I leave here, he's going to start trying to break out of the kennel. I'm not worried about that at this point in our training program now. And that's where we want him to be when he goes home with his owners too. So stay tuned. We'll keep everybody posted on it, but I thought this was a good little clip and good little conversation about a dog like Rico with these kinds of issues. So